Joining us now via Skype to discuss some more hot headlines making news is our friend, breast surgeon, Dr. Kristi Funk. What's up, Dr. Funk?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Kristi.
So let's talk a little bit about eating fresh and another reason to eat that way. A new study shows that people who eat more highly processed foods have a higher risk of cancer. Now we're going to be talking about some of the worst offenders, and I didn't find this surprising, but I'm glad the research is now out there. It looked at 104,980 adults, found a 10% increase in ultra-processed foods in a person's diet was correlated with a 12% higher risk of cancer. Chew on that for a minute.
Right.
Consistently, the more processed a food, the more processed, the higher your risk. Dr. Funk, you live in a world where obviously you're constantly talking with people about cancer risk. What was your takeaway from this study?
Well, I love the study. See, the problem with processed food is not only that the ingredients list is unpronounceable and unknowable and clearly not healthy because it's largely chemical, but what you've done to create it is you've divorced a food. Let's just take an apple. You've pulled away everything nutritious and valuable, fiber, vitamins, minerals, and these phytonutrients that run around and fight inflammation and cancer in your body. So now you've replaced a lot of that. Like you take an apple, you just make juice. It's like a sugar bomb and it spikes insulin levels. So I tell patients that you want to consume the whole food, like get all of the benefit, because the more processed the food, one, the less nutritious, but two, it's packed with kind of addictive saturated fat and sugar and salt, and you're full. And so you're not going to want the apple. And frankly, this is kind of so tasty now to you that broccoli's downright disgusting.
So to that point, I mean, some of these chemicals we can't pronounce may be actually carcinogenic, but on top of that, these processed foods, very pro-inflammatory, and we know that inflammation has been shown to have effect on tissue and cells, and in some cases to change those cells so that they become cancerous.
Absolutely. And in this study in particular, there was an 11% bump in breast cancer. It didn't prove causation with the processed food, but the link is pretty darn undeniable.
Let's break down a term I've always struggled with, which is food scientist. No offense, but I don't need a food scientist to tell me that this is an apple. It grows on that tree. If I pick the apple and eat the apple, I'm eating an apple.
Yeah.
Many food scientists' job is to make a processed food so tantalizing to hit every little taste bud that you have so that you want more and more. Don't think for a moment that that is not the goal. And you have to be aware of that. And that's why it's so good. We will all, I will admit, I still, from time to time, I'll eat processed foods and my taste buds sing just like everyone else's because it's ridiculously addictive. But the good news is, and I think this is important, is there is a curve, if you will. There are highly processed foods and then there are minimally processed foods. And just because something is in a wrapper, you can take a food in a wrapper and read the ingredients and it might say pistachios, cashews, almond butter, and it may have one fruit in it. Now that's a processed food, but it's minimally processed and you can announce every ingredient. Every ingredient's a whole food. I still will go with those. Yeah. But the ones that tend to be the most addictive because they're more highly processed and they hit those taste buds, I think those are the ones that are the greatest risk to eat the most of.
Food scientists, one of their other missions is to make sure that that food has a longer shelf life, that it lasts, and it's those preservatives that are being added to so many things. We know deli meats, those processed meats, we know that part of that is so that they last longer, and we know those things aren't good for you.
Right. So a simple test, guys, is just, because we're talking like cookies and crackers and packaged meats and these frozen foods and energy drinks, just look at the shelf life. Refined and processed foods last a very long time, weeks to months. We're thinking Twinkies on a shelf, as opposed to broccoli. That stuff goes bad in a week, so you know that's not processed.
Yeah, and I think that's actually a really good point. I would just say the takeaway for now is to beware of the amount of processed food you're eating.